Good evening, guys. Um, for another tech with Asante Tech Solutions. Today we are here with none other than Buckland, a AI and software dev lead at Derivco. The topic that we'll be embarking today is the future of MarTech, AI, data engineering, and customer experience. So we're thrilled to have you here, Niels. We're thrilled to have you here as our guest for the upcoming webinar. Your expertise and insights will offer valuable perspectives on how real stories build credibility, humanize the brand, and influence buying decisions far greater than traditional advertising. This webinar explores how the future belongs to brands that can merge technologies with human insights, transforming data into meaningful action and automating processes without losing authenticity. This session will explore the next generation tools and strategies that are reshaping the entire customer journey, from predictive analytics and customer data platforms to AI-driven personalization and real-time automations. We look at how organizations can create seamless experiences that drive growth, loyalty, and competitive advantage. So, Niels, just give us a brief interview or introduction of who you are, where you're from, and how all of this ties into your career path.
Cool. Thanks for having me, first of all. It's a privilege being here. As David said, I'm Niels Berglund. I'm a software and AI architect team lead at Derivco. Derivco is in Durban, and we are an iGaming company, i.e. writing software for online casinos, etc. I am uh, let's have a caveat here. I'm by no means a MarTech specialist as such. However, what we do in the online gaming industry that ties very well into what MarTech is doing, i.e., we do promotional work. We need to we need to be able to offer to a client, to a customer, to a player the best offers for that customer, for that player to keep on playing, etc. In the casino, and we are moving more and more towards real time. So I'm kind of overseeing this. I've been in the online gaming industry for 16 years, and I have seen us moving from batch-oriented jobs to real-time streaming. So that's who I am.
Okay, cool. So real-time streaming, that seems hectic. Um, but yeah, we hear a lot about hyper-personalization, especially in gaming, actually, and also in marketing. We talk a lot about marketing technology and AI working together and data engineering. So my first question would be, how does data engineering fit into all of this? How is that the foundation and the most critical piece of merging marketing and AI to achieve this hyper-personalization?
That's a fantastic question and a great question to start with at this webinar. The without In order to do anything, whether well, in order to do anything, we need data, right? And in order to do AI, we need data. In order to do machine learning, we need data. And that data is the AI and ML is dependent upon having proper data. We can't have data sitting in different silos all over the place. We can't have data that is poorly stitched together. Essentially, it comes down to garbage in, garbage out, and that's where the data engineer comes in. It's his or her job to make sure that we are getting proper data. It's his or her job to make sure that we have a proper data infrastructure, and that we also have a proper data foundation. And that is extremely important, that where do we store the data? How does the data come into this storage? How do we then have a customer data platform on top of all this, where we can stitch stuff together? So without the data engineer, there won't be no AI, there won't be no ML, because without the data engineer, there will probably not be any data, at least no data that can be used in a meaningful way.
Okay, basically, the data engineer is the backbone of AI. It's what pushes AI to do what they do. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can definitely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the 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 data engineer is, so take the analogy of having a restaurant, having a kitchen, and in the kitchen you have a chef, 5-star, 5 Michelin star chef, right? He makes the bestest food ever, right? But if he don't get the ingredients to him, he can't make no food. So here we can see the chef being AI/ML, and the data engineer being the peeps that are getting the stuff to the chef, to getting the data to the AI/ML in a way that can be used.
Okay, so in your experience, given the whole topic of AI, what are the top 3 most common issues you find in a company's data architecture that immediately bottleneck the AI, that prevents it from reaching its full potential?
Only only 3. Okay, cool. Let's so and so what I'm saying here is valid over, I guess, any industry, not only MarTech. We certainly see it in the Rivco as well, in the online gaming. But what the first and foremost, so let's take the Rivco as an example. I don't think I'm giving away any state secrets here or whatever, but we have tons of data. We have terabytes, potentially petabytes worth of data. And I mean, how cool is that? You may say that you can do so much awesome things with that. The problem is that that data sits in a gazillion different systems. It is very, very hard to stitch it together so we can actually use it in a uniform way. So siloed systems is one of the biggest issues, where it fragments data across departments, right? So each department has their own little data store, and departments are not talking to each other, right? That's kind of the law. You can't talk to the other peeps here. So so it's a hard slog trying to get all that data together to do something meaningful out of it. So siloed systems, 100%, that is one thing, right? The other thing is that the data comes in, but there hasn't been any verification of the data. Potentially, there has not been any verification of the data. So the data quality is really, really bad. And that's then where garbage in, AI out, right? The third thing is that the identity resolution. So this is now a thing. So we as well in MarTech want to target persons, i.e., humans, living, breathing persons, especially in in the online gaming scenario, and my assumption is that it's the same in MarTech, right? That a person can join with a lot of, well, get quite a few different accounts. So now this person that we want to target is identified as an account in the system instead of being identified as David the dude, right? So the third problem then that I'm referring to here is we don't have a identity resolution, or we have a broken identity resolution. So we can't see that these three accounts all belongs to David person. So siloed systems, poor data quality, broken identity resolution. That is the main three. And the also the during when people in the industry, well, IT leaders across various industries says that the 81% says that data silos is hindering digital transformation. 95% says that integration challenges is blocking AI. And all this now leads to huge monetary losses. There is an estimated average of $15 million a year due to bad data. So, yeah,
Sure. That's a
silos,
lot.
poor data quality, broken identity resolution.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot of sorts of data that you're mentioning, um, poor resolution, so lack of identifying issues. But how does this affect the personalization of the end user? So let's assume that now this data is clean. It's, past the three issues that you've mentioned, and it's ready for use. How does this transform the end user's experience, especially in gaming?
Well, I don't think that, yeah, especially gaming, you said this is across all industries, across all industries. So when I now has reached utopia with clean, correct data, well, first of all, right, boys and girls, we will never get to that utopia. We can get part of the way. So, but let's say that we now have clean, unified data. We can see that these three accounts all belongs to David. It is David the person. We don't have any strings that should be integers, or integers that should be strings in the database. So the data quality is top notch. Well, that's where the magic, now we can do magic. Now AI can step in, AI ML. When I say AI, I kind of take everything over, both AI and machine learning in the same breath here. So this is now when the magic happens. AI now becomes the brain that takes static data and can turn that into living real-time experiences, where it decides on the next best action for each customer, for each person. So in our case, in the iGaming industry, we can now in real time this tell the player that, or suggest to the player, hey, have you tried this game? uh, we think that this game would be awesome for you, right? And that is then based upon these profiles that we are able to create in real time, and then get the player to stay a little bit longer in the casino. And so we are essentially and so we are moving from brittle and rules-based journeys, right? So I mean, throughout the throughout the history, right? We've had if else, if this, then do that, if something else, do that, etc., etc. So we have a rule. We worked with rule-based engines or rule-based journeys for a customer, for a player, for anyone, right? But now we can move that towards AI making decisions and making recommendations in a much more, well, in a much better way, put it that way. And if we look at, let's take Amazon as an example, they get approximately 35% of Amazon's revenue comes from recommendations, i.e. that they recommend to the dude or that on the web that, hey, have you looked at this? Maybe you should look at that. And 35% of the revenue comes from that. So the McKinsey, the consultant, has data that shows that AI-driven next best experience. Okay, so what do we do from here? Right, next best experience can increase satisfaction, can increase the customer satisfaction by 15 to 20%, and that would mean a revenue increase of 5 to 8%. So yeah, AI, that's magic, right? And all this now becomes possible because clean data, unified data, feeds the AI. And who is making sure that the clean data comes to the AI? Well, that's the data engineer. So he is really the unsung hero in this stack.
Nicely tied back. Okay. So
So
now, given that this
by the way,
thing,
I'm not the data engineer, but sorry, go for it, David.
oh no, sorry. So I was just wanting to ask. So now that we have all of this clean data, and obviously companies source this data from people, how does ethics fit into all of this? To say that they actual personal lives are not used to feed this AI to give it this superpower, suggest your games, your perfect products, your perfect ad. So yeah, ethics is a big role in this. So how does that now affect the use of data?
Excuse me. Sorry. That is probably one of the most important questions that we are talking about here at this webinar. That when we are using AI to influence a customer's decision, we are not only looking at, does it work? Cool, it works, we can use it. That's not good enough. We need to make sure that this is fair, that is explainable and accountable. And so ethics has a huge impact in this, and being able to govern and check for fairness is extremely important. And there are, if you as a company can show that you are using AI ethically, you can get a huge competitive advantage.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes 100% sense. So given now the ethics, how would you say that AI teams combined with marketing teams navigate this whole field? What are your suggestions or tips in integrating AI into these systems like payment gateways, ad networks, fraud detection tools? How does all of that now merge to make a solid team?
Okay, so is the question how to integrate third-party tools in all this? Is that kind of the question you're asking?
Yes,
Yeah.
so yeah, how to integrate third parties into all of this, keeping in mind the ethical, needs.
Right. So this is comes down now to an operational thing, right? That the we are now sitting in an intersection of we need to think about when we're doing these integrations. There are there are a lot of things we need to think about, but we are sitting in an intersection of security. We sit in an intersection of compliance, and last but not least, the customer experience, right? So when we are doing integration with third-party tools, we have to it needs to look like that this is an extension of our brand, that this is not some third party tool. This is our brand that can now a payment provider, for example, right? Payment platform or ad platform or whatever, that this is part of us. At the same time, we have to lock down on security and privacy, right? Because all of a sudden now we are integrating with a third party, and we have to ensure that we are protecting our customers' data, our customers' privacy. So we have to, when we have done that, we are using modern authentication, OAuth2, short-lived tokens, etc., TLS encryption, least privilege access, all that good stuff that we are talking about, but seldom doing. Um, and uh, and part of this is also that we have to do our due diligence on this third party vendor. Is he or she legit? Is it a scam company, etc., etc.? Then from there on, we have now to layer on the privacy by design, that all so essentially, regardless if it is third party tools or not, we should always work with on privacy by design, i.e., when we are designing a system, we have to ensure that privacy is taken into account, because nowadays it is more and more, well, there are more and more rules and regulations that protects the customer, that protects the person, which is a good thing. But to design for that, well, that is a conscious decision. And then having all this, now we need to ensure that the experience is okay for the customer. We can't do, especially when it comes to payment providers, payment processors, we can't do a lot of redirects where we are redirecting from one place to another, to a third, to a fourth. We have to try to, once again, make this look like it is one company, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. So now, given obviously this utopia where everything is integrated seamlessly with proper security, proper ethics, what are some AI applications that you think come closest to this utopia? Like, give us three of the most exciting AI applications that you feel tick these boxes fairly enough.
Um, so what are the most exciting AI applications that we can use now in marketing, right? So the Well, I don't know if I can give you 3 direct applications, but I can give you some ideas of where the industry is moving. So I mean, for a long time now, having automation is good, right? We are patting ourselves on the back because we have automated pipelines, we have automated handling of customer requests. An email comes in, that goes through some sort of a pipeline, and eventually something happens. Now what we are moving towards is agentic AI. So we are building AI agents that acts as our teammates, right? So I can almost be a one-man band in the marketing in MarTech, and have agents planning, running, optimizing campaigns for me. So we are moving from this whole very in a way hard-coded pipeline to now having a team of AI agents doing things where the agents can. We are feeding something to one agent who then controls the flow, talks to another agent, that another agent may talk to a third agent, etc., until we are now coming to, well, an end result. Salesforce, that small company called Salesforce, right? They where we can they have an agentic marketing cloud where campaigns can be set up, and that compresses the time to create a campaign from weeks to hours. And then the agents in here are dynamically based upon customer profiles, based upon goals for the campaign, choosing content, timing, what channels to talk to each individual customer, right? So we are now coming down to, well, we spoke about hyper personalization before. You mentioned hyper personalization. We are looking at being able, through now AI, target individual customers. If we're thinking about it, how it was, well, how it's been for back in the day, or how it's been, and I think this holds true in any industry, that we in iGaming, right? We never targeted David. We might have put David into a segment, and because he liked this, he did that, he etc., and that then kind of there were other people that looked more or less the same, so we segmented them, and then we offered the segment something. We never offered David. We could never take it down to the individual level, and that's what we need to aim for if we really want to be successful. And once again, so I spoke about Netflix, I spoke about Amazon a while ago and their recommendations. I mean, Netflix is an awesome example, right? That they are actually, so Netflix definitely talks to the person. And the Netflix drives 80% of viewing through recommendations. So you're logging on to Netflix, and then here is for you, and etc. You're choosing something cool. The last
Okay.
thing I want to say
So,
here is that
yeah,
I think we're having a delay here. The last thing I want to say here is that uh, the we are forecasting that AI in marketing will the usage, the revenue growth, the AI in marketing forecast to jump from around 28 billion in dollars in 2025 to nearly 100 billion in 2031, i.e., in 6 years. In 6 years. So yeah, that's where we're at.
sure. Um, hey, that's a big leap. So, given now all of this technology and how we're pushing for AI-driven um, campaigns, focusing on agents, like you mentioned before, and having a whole agentic team working for you, almost like you're a solo person. How can businesses now avoid this whole dependency on AI and lose strategic focus or strategic direction?
That's a very, very good question. Um, it it hurts me to say this because I'm a tech dude. I love tech, but in this case,
Yeah.
we as a business, you need to think about the strategy, not the tools, not the last shiny things that you have heard about, that you have come to the data and AI event at Richfield and someone has spoken about this awesome thing. You can't, you need to have a strategy. You need to have business outcomes clear for you before you go on to pick whatever tech. So strategy, business outcomes, and then you pick the tech that serves those goals. And you need a extremely strong
Mhm.
governance. You need extremely strong ownership and audits of your tech stack, that so to ensure that you are not throwing money away. We are at the Rivco, we are doing regular audits to see, is the tech stack what we want? Well, it's more like, is this tech stack what we need? And if it's not, get rid of the fat, cut the cost for that, potentially move to some other tech. But all this is driven by the strategy and the business outcomes you want.
Okay. So you spoke of removing the fat. So obviously, removing some of those agents or AI tools will require said person to have more skills in their bucket or in their storage for them to use to cover up those gaps. So what would you recommend AI and businesses focus on in order for them to minimize the overall outsourcing agents or tools?
Yeah, the that's another really good and crucial question. That you obviously, if you're in AI, you need to know something about AI. So you need to, marketing and customer experience teams need to become what we call hybrid thinkers, where they combine AI and data fluency, right? But the hybrid comes in that they also need, well, let's call it human strengths, strategic thinking, creativity, critical thinking. And critical thinking is extremely important when it now comes to have what we spoke about. Look at your tech stack, look what is needed, think hard about this. Do I really need this piece, etc., etc.? So you need to be both fluent in AI and fluent in data and AI, but also the more than, as I said, the human strengths like strategic thinking, etc. And very, very important, adaptability, because right now everything moves so quick. So you need to be adaptable. You need to be able to switch from one thing to another. So so in essence, the we probably have to look at what are we doing with our employees, with our workforce, and most likely there need to be some sort of upskilling. And the World Economic Forum has done some investigations, and that potentially by 2025, i.e. this year, we would need 50% of employees would need to be upskilled in various ways. Right? So, and this is not, so AI is not coming to take your job, right? But someone that knows AI may
Yeah,
come and take it. And the truth of the matter is that, well, AI works best with people. So we need the future employee, the people need technical AI skills and human capabilities.
to kind of like bridge that gap.
Mm.
I think we may have lost a bit of your audio.
Have you, sorry, can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, so could you please just repeat that last bit?
The last bit. So well, AI will not take your job. Someone that knows AI
Okay.
may take it, right? So what is now extremely important here is that we are investing in both technical AI skills and human capabilities. Like I mentioned before, strategic thinking, creativity, critical thinking, all that good stuff. So that is extremely,
Yeah.
extremely important. And the whole thing that so what we have noticed at the Rivco is that we need to become your everyday employee need to become more business oriented. He or she need to understand what the business is doing. Well, the business is there to make money, obviously, but so how do I what are the outcomes that the business wants to achieve, to understand that deep down inside each employee. When I joined the Rivco 16 years ago, I had no clue about all that. And well, you may say I still don't have it, but well, slight exaggeration. But anyway, that comes with time. So the extremely important to be fluent in data and AI as well as human skills.
So, improving human skills and improving, the technical skills, that all leads to the business performing better. So now, assuming that the business performs best, what's the future looking like for the customer? How does the customer experience increase or decrease, give or take, in the next 5 years, as predictive AI steps into the playing field and businesses push this in terms of marketing? How does the user gain from all of this? What do they gain from all of this?
Now we're talking. So as I said here, that, well, I don't know if I said it or not, but the customer's experience will be shifting from a reactive experience based upon the company. The company reacts to what you are doing. It shifts from that to an anticipatory, where we have predictive AI and real-time data will drive this hyper personalization, and it will drive next best experience. So you will have AI kind of suggest what should you do next, not what have you done. Not It doesn't react to, it will anticipate your needs, so to speak. That sounds bad, but it will anticipate the next best experience for you, right? And then we also have a scenario where, coming back to AI agents and stuff, that this can now proactively solve issues before the customer even notices them. Right? It can, based upon what the AI sees, the data the AI gets, can see, ooh, this is now, something bad is now about to happen, let's fix that. That's probably more 5 years than 3 years, but anyway, right? And that will then, all that will then link to more revenue, and there has been figures bandied around with 40% more revenue for highly personalized retailers. So real time. So I'm a big fan of real time. So yeah, sure, David, go for it. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. No. So now, given user experience increases, revenue increases, assuming the business is now a startup business, how does that business push to getting to where the bigger businesses are? What's the single most smartest step that they can take that will kind of like fast track them to that position? Maybe not get them there entirely, but makes the whole process a lot faster.
Right. Another good question, and this is kind of the this is a question that sort of separate companies that succeed with MarTech from others that just waste millions on stuff that never delivers, right? And the single smartest first step is a step that what you shouldn't do. You should not buy a new AI tool or a customer data platform. Do not do that. Just say no. Just say no. What you need to do is actually understanding and getting the truth of your customers' experience. Look at where and we're coming back to what we said in the very, very beginning. Look at where all your customer data lives. I can bet you that it lives in multiple silos all over the show. Break down those silos, and based upon that, the map the customer's his real end-to-end journey from a customer's point of view, not what someone shows you in a slick PowerPoint presentation. This will give you you will immediately see the biggest friction points, and your teams can now finally align over all this. And the after a month, well, 6 to 8 weeks, then you should start looking at what technology to use. Do not start with the technology. Even you have salespeople knocking at your door, having slick PowerPoint presentations, etc. That's my suggestion.
100%. And we appreciate your suggestion. To sum it all up, so I think the three main points that we could all take out this is obviously break down the silos, focus on the user's feedback, what the user wants. A user-centered business, in any case, could go very far from a business that just does whatever. And obviously, buy the AI last. Look for tools after you've gained that said knowledge and experience from the user's feedback. But yeah, thank you, Niels, for the session. Thank you for joining us on this webinar. It's been a very insightful session. It's been fun conversating with you and learning from your experiences. And if there's any last sentiment you'd like to say, I'll hand it over to you now.
Yeah, so I mean, you summed it up spot on. One more thing here, and this is extremely important as well, is that to get the leadership of the company and any cross-functional, well, any cross-functional teams truly aligned around this and not on shiny features. That is, if you don't, this needs to have a complete buy-in from the whole company.
Okay. No, it makes perfect sense again. Yeah, I hope our viewers will appreciate the session, and I hope to see you again in probably a future session.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Neil, joining
thank
us.
you for. Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you, audience. It's been a blast. Yeah, I'll hope I'll see you again sometime.
Yeah. Right. Cheers, man.
Cheers. We are still live, I think.